Okay, thank you. We'll call the meeting to order, and I want to welcome you all here to the Budget Kickoff Town Hall meeting. Just so everybody understands, we have two meetings tonight. One is a Town Hall meeting, of course, and that was because it was canceled a week ago. And Mr. Coffey was out, and we decided it'd be best to hold it when he is here. And right after this, of course, we have our regular Board of Trustee meeting at 7 o'clock. So that means that we have 1 hour to have our Town Hall meeting and before we have to go into our regular meeting. And with that being said, we have really two parts to this, three parts really. Mr. Coffey is going to go through an introduction and some budget items. Then we're going to just have a Town Hall discussion with the audience if they have questions, comments. And after that, the BOT will then go back within that hour to meet and give Mr. Coffey some direction on some things. So we will start with Mr. Coffey and an overview of, oh, first of all, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm sorry. Mr. Nugent, please lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, sir. Mr. Brinker, would you do the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Trustee Nugent.
Present.
Trustee Brinker is here. Trustee Morrissey.
Here.
Trustee Amos.
Here.
Chairman Mano.
Present.
John Coffey is in the room. Stephanie Brown is in the room. And Marcy. Is that it?
Oh, Mackenzie.
Mackenzie, I'm sorry. I see Matt Getz, and that's, Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. With that, we'll go right into Mr. Coffey, an introduction and overview of items in the budget.
Just want to go through some preliminaries for any first-time attendees. Tonight is the kickoff of the external part of the budget process. Staff has been working on it for the last several weeks. The department managers have their initial requests in already. What Barefoot Bay calls the working draft proposed budget, the first public iteration is due to the trustees on March 7th. There'll be scheduled 4 workshops in March and May. On May 24th, the board will authorize a line item budget mail out to all homeowners, and then on June 28th, they'll adopt the budget and the assessment that starts in October. Highlights or lowlights, depending on your perspective. This assessment increase through an interlocal agreement with Brevard County is capped at CPI. The CPI for the FY23 is 4.698%, which would equate to an assessment rate of $72.07, approximately $190,000 in new receipts. Plan from last year includes increase in social membership by $50, which would bring in approximately $21,000. A $5 a month increase in the storage fee, which is approximately $21,000 a month. Food and beverage increases, 7% for beverages, 2.5% for food. And in FY25 is recommended a 10% adult membership fees. That's 2 years out, but we try to look at things in a 5-year window. On the expenditure side, a continuation of the maximum 5% employee raises split between the COLA and merit, which is estimated right now at about $92,000. Minimum wage increases, bringing everybody up to $11 or $7.98 tip, would be an additional $43,000 plus taxes. And in December, the board authorized the pay and compensation study to address compression. For the working right now, I'm using a plug of $125,000 for that. So you can see the majority of the new money proposed to come in for 23 is pretty much used up personnel costs. On the operating side, inflation, as most people know, is eating everything. Fuel prices are up 50% over the last year. Goods and services are through the roof for just about everything. In projects, costs are up and some materials continue to have limited supply chains. In summary, the issue of compression, which in a nutshell is when you, some of Mr. Getz's skilled building techs 2 years ago were making on average twice the minimum wage. When you artificially increase minimum wage by $6 over a 5-year period, those folks will then turn into be making maybe $3 above minimum wage. It's likely that most of those skilled people will move on to somewhere else paying more wages if we don't address that compression from the minimum to what a long-term skilled, semi-skilled people make. The district is in a comfortable position right now due to prior board's actions of having somewhere between $700,000 and $900,000 in one-time monies in each year for capital projects. The issue, and that's the chart, the numbers you see on the left hand of the screen right here. If you start using some of that money for compression, which becomes recurring, you start to see that one-time money shrink dramatically over the next several years to where you have a third of your discretionary one-time money come fiscal year 27. And that's the concern long-term. We're not in a situation for FY23 of not having enough money. It's the hard choices of do you move money from one-time use to recurring, and then you deal with the effect of having less one-time money for projects going forward. And that concludes my brief overview. I have the cordless microphone, and as in past, I'll get up and walk around so that y'all don't have to stand at the podium. And we have Ms. Viva, the management analyst, will be switching over here, and if you have an idea, we're going to jot it down so we have a record of it, and if multiple people agree, we'll keep a tracker of who all agrees with it.
John, before we do, see if we have any questions of the board, but one thing I want to bring out so that we make sure everybody knows we're being transparent. Let me find the page. When we talk about, when we talk about the CBI and going up, we're saying the rate would be 7207, and then we're saying that's additional 21,000 because we go $50 per year. But with that, we have already agreed that we're going from the 800 to, is it 12, I believe, or 1250 this for 23?
Good point, Mr. Chairman. In FY21, the one-time social membership was $750 plus tax. It's currently $1,300 plus tax. So this would take it to $1,350 plus.
So what we're talking about is each year the $50 increase, and we get that kind of money like you're talking about 21. But on top of that, we do have that other chunk of money because we raised the fee, which we have said we would try to designate for specific items, specific projects or whatever in our doing that. So just want to make sure people understand that we do acknowledge we have that other money coming in. Okay, so we're going to the audience now? Any other questions by the board before we do? No? Okay. Again, let me bring this up. I have two people who sent in slips for audience participation, Bob Warner, I believe, and then Elaine. Elaine wants to speak during the meeting, I believe, regular meeting.
No.
Oh, during the town hall? Town hall. Okay, that's fine. And Mr. Warner, is it? Do you want to speak for town hall?
W-A-R-R-E-N.
Is that during this meeting or during a regular meeting?
This meeting.
Okay, fine. Okay, it's just dialogue, that's fine.
Well, after listening to everything there, I'm not sure I'm putting this in at the right time, but I see that there are new requests from the residents. Is it too late to put in anything on that list or contribute to that?
A request from what?
A request, a new request?
Absolutely, that's what we're here for, to see what the residents think we should be doing with the monies.
Okay, I have two. One, I'd love to see an awning alongside, south side of Building A, like they just did the west side. They have a new awning that they put up to create more shade. We have the back side of Building A that is brutal, and it would be nice to have the awning there so we'd have more seating.
Backside, you're talking where the heater building is, the big brick
No,
building?
Building A,
Oh, building
the
A.
south side,
Oh,
okay, the backside, by the lake, yeah.
okay.
And then I was in the A building for the comedy show this week, and as they were setting up, they had the side curtains open, you know, next to the stage, and the light that comes in is amazing, and the room that's available back there is amazing. We could do so much more in Building A without expanding it, but we need to have a place to store the tables, the chairs, and all that type of thing. So I was looking at the open bay area right outside of that water area. If you look to the east side of Building A is an open bay. We had that alligator, that fake alligator right there. Yes, face. Are you picturing where I'm talking?
Yes.
Yes, yeah, and it has stairs. What about decking that? Getting a company like Dockside of Sebastian or something, give us quotes on decking that and bringing more storage out so that we could put our tables and chairs and they could roll them right into the building. And then we've got a little bit more open space in Building A. And in the long run, I'd love to see all those open bays with the stairs. We don't use it. It's space that would be, as we're growing, we need more space. We can't build onto our buildings. Decking those areas in time. I'm not talking about immediately, but I would think the first one would be nice to do because you can. We need storage. We absolutely need storage. And it opens up Building A. So those are my two ideas.
Thank you.
Okay, my name is Bob Warren. I moved here in '18, and there was a lot of things that I liked. And at that time, there were drawings from architects and all that on the wall in the lounge that never materialized. Then there also was in the lounge when we had trivia night. There used to be little pizzas they sold that was very good. I don't know what happened to that. Well, that's gone too. Building A, the kitchen project, has been lasting for far too long with not having to be able to get hot food in there like you used to have for Monday night bingo and stuff. All you get is the box lunches if you want that. The 19th hole used to have a good thing called the pasta night on Wednesdays. That's history now. You got computers in the boxes at the 19th hole, or registers or whatever, that have been in there for months. So when they finally come online, they'll be outdated. Then there was a food truck that was supposed to happen that I don't think ever materialized. The beach, there were bathrooms, I thought, but the permits or something weren't right. And so now you still got porta-johns out there at the beach instead of a regular bathroom. Who's responsible for overseeing all these things? Especially Building A with the kitchen project's been lasting forever and a day.
I'll jump in, but let me try and I'll address all of them and we'll go from there. Number one, Building A, we've had setback after setback after setback after setback. It's part of the problems ours because as they go and do different things, they find out the building is so old that what they thought was going to work is not going to work, things don't fit. They have to redo something. The platforms, we couldn't get them in order to put the HVAC units and all, whatever this was up there. So there's been a lot of setbacks on that. We understand that. But again, it's something that they're on every single day trying to get it done and get the permits. And I can't go through every single one of them with you, but it's just something that we've had to put up with. The beach, as you all know, we have been trying for a year to get a waiver from the county so that we wouldn't have to put the pilings in. They said we had to put pilings in. It was going to cost us over $100,000. We just finally, 3 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, got a legal opinion from the county through our attorney that we don't have to do that now. We have the building for the beach. we will be going ahead to do that and put that beach project together and put it in. Because we just a few weeks ago, got the word from the county that we did not have to put the pilings in. The kitchen, you talked about a food truck or whatever, that's all in our budget to be done, in the 2022 budget. That is gonna be done. You talked about the lounge and those plans on the wall. We threw those plans out, said we were not going to do those. We are, however, going to take the heater building, if you know what that is, it's a big brick building in the middle.
Yeah, the
We're
big
taking
square.
that out, we're putting that outside of the gates and outside the walls. We're gonna make seating there. We're going to put a canopy over that. We're gonna put the new food truck that will be able to cook all the food in the back of the lounge. And we are going to, what else are we gonna do? We're gonna put the tables there where the heater building was gonna be. And we have plans to put a permanent outside bar right in the corner with a roof over it. That's all in our 2022 plan.
Okay, but what's the time frame on these things?
Well, the fiscal year starts October 1.
Right.
So the fiscal year starts October 1. We try not to do some of the projects when the most of our people are here. We're not gonna start tearing things up. Let's say we're gonna fix a pool. We don't wanna tear a pool up when we have everyone here during the winter. We'd rather do it, let's say, in the summer when we have less people here. I mean, it's just logistics of how we can get things done.
As far as logistics goes, a lot of the logistics should have been done before you start a project, especially with the building A. All the things that need to be done with the roof, all that should have been incorporated before you even started the project.
But if they don't know what it was, then you can't incorporate it, if you don't know what it is. So,
I think you pay people to figure that stuff out.
think of what?
I think you pay people to figure all those things out before you
Well,
attempt the
again,
project.
I'm just trying to explain how it goes, so that's fine. I'm not sure if I addressed those concerns. Anyone else on the board?
And then the golf course, I'd like a record to see how many years it's lost money in the total it adds up to.
How many what?
How many years it's lost money in the total it runs up to.
Well, the golf course does not break even. It doesn't break even. Like anything, like the swimming pool, the food and beverage, it does not break even.
What makes money here then?
And we don't make money. And if you look at the Chandler article, which is coming out in another few days, I explain our amenities very clearly. Our job here, as per the charter, is to provide recreational facilities for people. We charge you an assessment fee, a monthly, and it comes into an annual assessment fee that we use to provide those recreational facilities. So for instance, we provide 3 pools. $444,000 a year it costs to run those 3 pools. We provide a golf court, costs $800,000 or $900,000 to run that golf course. We take in, let's say, $750,000. So we put $150,000 of assessment dollars in there. We have tennis courts, shuffleboard courts, all of those things we provide as amenities. And out of your assessment, that's what we do. We don't judge one by how many people use it. We don't say that the golf course has to break even.
But that golf course is public, so it means everybody in all the surrounding areas can come to that golf course, correct?
Which helps us with our revenue, sure.
So do you get extra tax from the county towards that besides what you get from the bay?
The county has nothing to do with our golf course. No. We charge green fees to people, which helps our revenue. But again, we don't say the golf course has to break even. We don't say food and beverage has to break even. We don't say the pool has to break even. The card rooms, the billiards rooms, we don't say they have to break even. We use our assessment money to provide recreational facilities for the people, and that's what the money is for. That's the only thing we do.
That's all understandable, but at the end of the year, when everything's said and done, all the salaries are paid, shouldn't you have at least a level line that you even broke even over the whole thing?
Well, we have a fund balance of almost $2 million. 1.5, John, I don't know what it is, 1 point something. 1.4, 1.3, I don't know. So we do, and we're getting into the budget right now, and we do, and again, jump in, the rest of the trustees, we do look at all the things and we pay all the things that we want to run, and what the meeting for us tonight is saying, okay, we have X amount of dollars possible left over, what are some other things we should be doing?
Okay,
And that's what you're here for tonight.
right. But I was always curious as to who, when you start a project, somebody should be seeing it through, start to finish, and make sure that it's on time, timely completed.
Well, and part of that,
Somebody should be held
Sure.
accountable if not.
and again, you know, we could sit and say this person or that person didn't do something, or engineers didn't do something. But again, with everything that's going on with COVID, with the
Yeah,
lack
that's
of
an excuse for everything,
people,
COVID.
with the people, lack of supplies, harder to get things, it's just impossible sometimes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Matt,
Hey, Mike,
give this down, would you?
can I interrupt
What's that?
you? Can I interrupt?
Yeah, you just jump in, it's a town hall.
John, do me a favor, tell this young man what you told me today when you said I have a surprise for you about the motor in the A building.
One of the updates later in the night is the Build A project, which is just not a kitchen, it's a complete rehab of the HVAC and electrical project. When they went to connect the hood to the fire alarm system, the motor and the variable frequency drive coded error, and they had to order backup parts. Those parts arrived yesterday, and it is operational, so now we're waiting on the fire inspection and the final 2 inspections, and that project will be complete. But sir, if you'd like to ever come in my office, I can answer all your questions, and I am the person you're one to talk to about where the buck stops. I've been doing this job for the last 8 years.
Yes, I want to talk about the budget, page 1, section 6, pool 3 asphalt parking lot and additional attentions of pond. I worked with the Connecticut State Park Service for 10 years in 4 different parks, with up to 5,000 cars being parked a day on grass, dirt, gravel, and rubber shavings. That did not need a retention pond as asphalt does. I have used pool 3 for 8 years and do not find the gravel to be a problem. At this meeting, at a past meeting, I heard that the cost would be about $80,000 to pave lot 3 parking. I feel it would be much more. The question I have is, what is the advantage of pavement over a much lower cost of gravel or rubber shavings that do not need a retention pond?
Thank you. Anybody else? I don't decide, I guess, what we put in there. I'm sorry. I don't have an answer for you. Whether it's needed or not is up to anyone to decide, I guess.
Well, right now you have in the budget to put a pavement down there for at least $80,000.
I think it's one that's like.
I agree with that. But right now we have gravel that's been there for these 8 years. And I don't really see the need to pay and get a retention pond. So my question is to you, why are you going from a gravel base to a pavement base and a retention pond at a much higher cost and just putting more gravel over the area?
And again, I can't answer your question. The only reason I think I can tell you about that is that we've had so many complaints. If you're saying it's a gravel base, we have so many complaints of people who say they trip on that right now, that the idea is to put pavement in there. That's why we're doing it, because so many people say they trip on that.
I've been there for 8 years. I've never tripped. I've never seen a trip.
But again, you're not everybody, so
Okay,
that's,
I
I'm
agree.
telling you what people
Okay,
tell us.
so the reason that you're giving for this right now is for a safety reason.
I would assume, yes.
If you're gonna spend all that money, I think it should be more just assume as an answer. I don't mean to be aggressive, but you're spending a lot of money on something that maybe not needed. You know, how many people, are there written complaints? Is there really a need to have gravel and retention pond over asphalt? I mean,
And it's a good question, and it may even come up later today, or in our regular meeting about the parking lot. We've discussed what is really absolutely needed as we look at the future budget. So you're right, there are some things we may look at and say, you know, we don't absolutely have to do these things right now. But I'm just giving you the reasons why we did is because so many people called in and said, we've got to get that paved. It's too hard to walk on, it's hard on their knees, they trip on it. And, you know, so, again, that's the only answer I can give you.
Who wants to speak next? I know there's folks out there with comments.
I got 3 questions total. My second question is also on page 1, section 15, the restroom trailer by the pickleball court. On our past lawyer, at one time, when we were thinking about putting a permanent bathroom over the tennis court several years ago, felt that we could put a permanent bathroom where we have the portable toilet there, but he felt that due to an over a caution, that the thing should go out to a vote to the Bay. The Bay decided not to vote on having that bathroom, and it was not built. Right now, we are thinking about putting a portable restroom trailer over there due to the fact that the lawyer also considers at this time that the portable bathroom there is a permanent structure and does not have to go out to a vote to the Bay residents to have a bathroom there. My question is, if you could put a cement bathroom there like we do have at the tennis courts, why are we putting a bathroom on wheels in that location that's still going to have additional cost of pumping?
We've already awarded contract for that, and an update later in the project is that it's in the manufacturing phase, a VIN number has been assigned. It should be delivered and set up within the next couple of months. So that project is basically almost executed.
Okay, but
And you're talking about issues, both of these issues you're talking about are issues that are in the current budget, 2022.
correct.
Right, okay.
But the question was that, why do we go with a trailer on wheels instead of building a permanent bathroom?
Well, again, that discussion took place months ago when the board decided to do that, so I can't answer you now, months later, after we're already putting the thing in, so, you know.
Okay, my last question is very short. And also in the current budget, on section 18, I'm talking about carpeting the miniature golf course. Overall, I believe that the staff did a great job on building the course. And there has been some concerns over the unevenness of the greens on the course. At a past meeting, there was a talk of about $17,000 to carpet the course. Again, I feel the cost would be much higher. The question I'm asking, is there a way that we can smooth the concrete to improve the fairways without the cost of carpeting that would need maintenance? I feel one of the problems with the course is also the fact of lack of knowledge by residents that the course has actually in that location. We really have done very little, in my opinion, to try to promote it.
Who else?
Okay, anyone else?
Thank you. I see on the last page, and well, toward the end, they're talking about purchasing, page 404, purchasing vacant land. I would ask if you might consider using some of that property as a revenue source. It's 44 and 45 on page 404. If you would like to...
What is she looking at, John? Is she looking at this?
Exhibit B, fiscal year 22 through 27 list of projects. On mine, it's 404. It's not a big issue whether you find it or not. The question is, I would ask that you consider building storage units that residents could use. We have RV lots for recreational vehicles, but we have a lot of people who are purchasing by the month storage units to store all that extra stuff. It could be a very good revenue source for Barefoot Bay to build humidity and temperature controlled storage units that residents could rent. And if you would consider that as part of your purchases for vacant lands. I don't think there's any place we can do it right now that everything is kind of full, but it would be a consideration for future use.
And so you're talking about like regular personal storage locker kinds of things that we used to, I understand, yeah. Okay. And again, as you talk about vacant land, you know, that's an issue that may or may not be coming up as we go forward. Because again, something like that is something that would have to go as a referendum or go to the people, and we have to do a lot of things. We have some other things we're looking to come up, so it'll be questionable whether we look to do that. But the storage thing is a good.
Something that would make people.
I understand that. Yeah, I never thought of that. It's a good point. Very good point, Louise. John, who else we have?
Anybody else have comment? Come on, I know you came here because you have thoughts, so let's hear it.
Some of the questions that are asked, you know, when you ask about the 2022 budget, just so you know, some of these things that were done months ago, so it's hard to go back and start explaining why we voted on something 6 months ago.
Okay, I don't know if this is going to fit in with your plan. However, I've been in Barefoot Bay for a long time. I came to Barefoot Bay in 2001 because I wanted to own a piece of property that my house and my land were connected, and it was real property. We are now finding out as homeowners, after spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, that there is someone here that wants to put homes on lots and sell the house and rent the lot. We are not a trailer park. We are a manufactured home community. And I think that we should have information given to us either in the Tatler or somewhere to let us know what we're doing here. This is really bad. We're now going to be a trailer park. You know, we're going to have a lot rent. How are we going to get mortgage companies to come in here and do mortgages for people? How are we going to get people to even want to come to a community that has no definition anymore? We need to think about that, because you're telling us about a budget. You want that money to come in for that budget? Think about it. Every home in here is going to depreciate in value when we become a trailer park, period.
Thank you.
Great.
And again, just good question, good point. Just so you understand, remember, we don't.
My name is Mary Miller, 906 Jacaranda Drive. But our motto is, buy in Barefoot Bay. You own your land.
That's right.
Now you have all that advertisement out in different magazines and stuff. And that's what brought me here. Buy in Barefoot Bay. You own your land. And I think we should go by that motto. I've been here 21 years. I think that's our motto. It's nice. Don't let it go down, please. I'm asking you really consider this and investigate this. Where can you rent a house for that amount of money? Then you have a maintenance fee on that he's asking for. He has advertisements all over in the bay. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good.
Thank you.
All right, Mary.
Lorraine Andrews. I agree. One of the properties is across the street from my house, and I'm here tonight because of that same reason. I don't want people putting a house on something that's going to get lot rent. That's not why we bought in the Bay. And if you want to see people disappear, you're going to see people disappear real quick if that starts happening here. Sherry? My neighbor here, Jerry, also has a few houses in the Bay, and his concern was the same tonight, and he had told me about this. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have been here tonight for this meeting. But anyways, I think you really should think about that. I mean, you should sell the lot to somebody who wants to put a house on there that can contribute to the taxes and the amenity fees here. And this is not a trailer park. People will not stay here and tolerate this. You need to think about it.
My name is Linda Morrissey. I live at 901 Cashew Circle. I too feel the same way. This man should have never been able to buy this much property and get waived for all this property. It should have been stopped right from the get-go. Because now, all our property values will go down. And this is not right.
Absolutely. That's right,
We are possibly gonna sell our home.
that's right.
We bought a lot, another lot in Barefoot Bay. What's gonna happen to us now when we wanna sell our home? And this is wrong.
And why was
This is gonna be almost like a slumlord.
Yes.
That he's gonna own all this property, okay, and let anybody go in there. And this is not fair to us that wanted to keep a nice home. And that's why we came here. When we passed by and we said, look, this is a beautiful place to live. And we owned our property. We didn't want to go to someplace that we just didn't own the property, where they could shove us out anytime they wanted.
I'm gonna add a little bit more to this. Why weren't the properties owners, the rest of the residents of the Bay and the homeowners of the Bay informed of this decision to let this man buy so many properties? Is it around 12 properties, am I right on that, John? 12 properties? And then he's gonna put a house on there, sell the house and lot rent it. 12 properties. And that's just gonna continue, and he's gonna keep continuing buying lots or buying houses and doing the same? This is gonna be a trailer park. That's not what we bought here for. I think you really need to reconsider that sale, if it hasn't been gone through yet.
Just, you make sure you all understand, we don't control anything to do with the sales. We don't have anything to do with who buys lots, who buys homes. In the deal, just let me finish, let me just finish. Let me just finish. Let me just finish. The DOR has nothing in there to prohibit any of this. So, we can't tell you or you or you that you can't buy a home here, or you can't live here, or you can't rent here. Yeah, I mean, you have to understand that.
We're not talking about renting the house. We're not talking, but there's plenty of homes
I
that are rented.
understand,
It's
I'm just
the
simply,
property
I
itself.
understand what you're saying, I'm just trying to tell you, there's nothing legally we can do about any of that.
But they sold them all these lots,
We didn't sell them, we don't own them, the Bay doesn't own them, we don't sell them to them.
but they were auctioned off to them.
Not by us, not by the Bay, we don't own the land, we don't own them. This is all private transactions.
Well, when you look
It's
up
not
the
Barefoot
tax
Bay
thing,
that does
it's
that.
Barefoot Bay LLC, so Barefoot Bay does own that property.
Where's that turn?
Yeah.
Who sold it to them?
Who sold it to
Oh,
them?
whoever owned them.
Well, you took,
If you have a lot or you put a home up and someone sells the lot or gives them the lot, I mean, we can't have anything to do with that. John, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I think some of the confusion is, this gentleman bought some of the properties through tax deed sales to the
Tax deeds,
town.
okay, that's through the county.
But we don't have any knowledge of when people sell properties. We don't have veto power over people who sell their private property. So,
You all know about our neighborhood revitalization program. That's exactly what we try to do, is to try to buy those properties before people like this can get them, so that we can tear the homes down, refurbish them, and sell the lots where a new home would go up. But I just need to make sure you understand, we have nothing to do with the sale of land here, nothing. Not a thing.
Excuse me. My name's Brad Denise. I live on Gardenia. I left 2 trailer parks that I paid lot rent. And when I came here for a reason, to get rid of the riffraff. I've got nothing against renters, but I can see that, I've only been here 2.5 years, and I've seen the downfall of this community, with more and more renters that don't care about their properties at all.
Right.
And DOR does not do anything to control it. I complain. I see boats, RVs parked in driveways, on roads overnight. And this is what happens when we have renters that don't care about our community. This is supposed to be a deed-restricted community. I believe there's only 2 of them in the state of Florida. And we're gonna wind up turning this into a trailer park? I don't know who allows it. Something does have to be done about it, and I'm with the rest of them. I'll leave here in a heartbeat. You know, the rates keep going up, but we're not doing nothing to protect us people. Thank you.
I'd like to say something along with the woman here said that, and what our chair says. Our DOR does not have the power to stop the people from buying the property. Right now, we are having DOR meetings to try to revamp our DOR to change some of the rules towards the future. I went to the first meeting. There were 5 residents that went to the first meeting to learn how they were going to change the DOR, maybe somewhere along the lines what you want. Halfway through the meeting, I was the only one person there. If you want to find out how to change things, you have to go to meetings. I was the only person there at a DOR meeting that wants to try to do some things that you want to do. You also have to understand that the DOR only really enforces the property. We don't own the roads for parking. We don't own the sewers, anything. If you have a noisy neighbor, you have to call the police. That's nothing to do with the deed of restrictions. But you have to come to a meeting to see about enforcing the deed of restrictions. Also the fact that we have a charter. The charter is roughly, I believe, 50 years old. And to get some of the things to be able to have the DOR to have more power, which means that the charter has to be changed and have the rules made so the DOR can have more enforcement. A lot of people in the Bay just laugh and say that the only thing we can do against people that break the rules is take their pool rights away. And we can put liens on the property, but it's still the fact that, like I said, I can sell my house to anybody I want. I could sell it to somebody who's going to use it as a rental property because our deed of restrictions doesn't give me give any rules to say I only can sell it to someone who's going to live in the house. Other communities say that if you're going to have a rental property, you have to actually live in the house for 5 years before you can rent it out at all. But those are all DOR regulations. And right now, the DOR is meeting twice a week for, I believe, the next month. And these are the meetings you should be, huh?
Twice a month
Right.
for 3
Get ready, Louise.
The
Get
DOR
ready,
is
Louise.
Yeah, the DOR is going to be having 2 meetings for the next 3 months, and these are the meetings that are going to try to change the DOR that might be able to get some of the things that you people are talking about. But you have to go to the meetings.
Thursday morning, 9 o'clock, right here.
Just so you know also, so people understand, you know, if you, and not to get into it, but you know, I have nothing against people renting homes here, but just so you understand, if someone owns a home and a lot, and they rent it out, they do get violations. I mean, if you'd have been at our last meeting, Cliff gave us a pamphlet this thick of all the violations, all the cases that are still in court, all those kinds of things, and we have continually are sending them to court, and we go through all the legal procedures that we can to make everyone comply. If you rent out your home to someone and we violate that property, the person who owns the property gets the violation. And if they own other properties, all of those properties are under the violation. The person who owns them. So all the people who live there lose their privileges. So you have to understand, we do go after people. We try as well as hard as we can with the staff we have to make sure that all the DOR is complied with. Go ahead.
My question deals with our charter, and I know I'm not up on it, but it is old. Does our charter allow for people to purchase the home and then charge a lot fee? Is that
The charter allows us to charge an assessment for each parcel that is sold.
so? There's nothing within our charter that can assist us in stopping the
Stopping renters, that kind of thing?
The thing remember, charter is the foundation of how an organization
Right.
operates. It
Right.
doesn't deal with private property.
No.
The DOR deals with the private property. So the charter governs how many trustees you have, their terms, the boundaries of Barefoot Bay. It doesn't deal with,
Does it define Barefoot Bay as a recreational district of manufactured homes?
it does.
And if there's nothing in
It-
that
it-
fine line.
It doesn't say
anything about the
about
owning.
ownership. That's the DOR. Somebody else?
I just want to say, you said, you do follow up, on the violations with these renters and the homeowner gets it. How much money we spending for this, coming out of the budget? How much money?
I'm sorry, we didn't hear him, what was that?
You just said, the DOR is doing their job, with the violations, right? The homeowner is the one that gets the notice, and you have to go to court. How much money are we spending because of this?
Going to court.
Going to court, lawyers and doctors. This is what the problem with, and like I said earlier, nothing against renters that take care of their properties and make the place look good. But when they come in and they turn the place into a trailer trash, it hurts. So this is what my pet peeve about it is. Sure, the homeowner is the one that's gonna pay for it, but out of the budget, we're paying for lawyers and courts. We need to get rid of this stuff. Be a little bit more, I don't know, what the word is, put your foot down. Don't threaten. Somebody will come, it just doesn't make any sense that what we're turning a beautiful community into, and we're gonna try to turn it into a trailer park now.
Thursday morning, 9 o'clock.
I will be here.
Paul McQuaid, also live on Gardenia, but I think we're missing the point that we're talking about someone selling the home and then leasing the land.
Yes.
I think we're missing the point.
Right.
Yes.
We bought our home with the land and the house on it. We can't sell in this Barefoot Bay our individual home on a leased land. It is not correct. What's correct is when you sell a home, the land goes with it, just the way we bought it 2021, 2022. We bought the land with our home. If an individual buys a property that has no building on it, then he can build on it, and then the land and the house becomes a unit. And that's the way it's going to be sold, or should be, and that's what we're talking about in this side of the fence here.
Yeah.
Correct.
So what's the solution?
Well, again, we can't answer you because all of the things you're saying sound really great, but we have no authority to do any of that.
Who does?
We don't, the Bay does not have that, that's my point.
I believe they're two separate. You have a warranty deed and a deed to the house. There's two separate things.
But you bought it as one
No.
unit.
You bought
So it was a unit when you bought it.
Right, yes.
But
My, I'd like that on page 3 of 4 Exhibit D, unfunded projects from 22-26. Number 13 says Pool 4 Complex, pool, restrooms, and small meeting rooms south of Miko Road. I'm all in favor of Pool 4, but I don't see any reason that you would have to have the meeting rooms. You need the pool and the restrooms, or changing rooms, but you don't need meeting rooms to increase your cost. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, folks, I don't mean to put, I know you have a lot of concerns about this lease business and issue, but again, that has nothing to do with our budget coming up, number one. And you have to understand that it's not something that we have any authority over whatsoever. We cannot give you an answer and say we can stop it, because there's no legal authority for us to do that.
I don't think anybody's asking, but we need some guidance and direction.
So I just need you to know that.
The chairman is right. The Board of Trustees does not have the power to do the things that you want to do. To do those things, we have to have a stronger DOR, and the charter has to be changed. To do that, you have to do two things. You have to go to the meetings with the DOR and try to get a stronger DOR to try to accomplish the things you want to do. And then you also have to talk to the board to see about doing some changes in the charter, which also give more power to followers. Right now, our charter says you're not going to do A, B, and C. If you want to do D, the board here has to add a D to the charter. If you want the D restrictions staff to be able to follow some of the rules you want to do, you have to come to meetings and get a stronger DOR.
problem here arises when the cat is already out of the house. How do you get that cat back in the bag?
That's right.
The DOR.
When?
Okay,
Seriously, you know,
Wait,
we
what?
speak
We
about
can't
it.
understand him. What do you say?
If this has happened, it may be already too late.
no.
Okay, then, you have some suggestions besides saying the DOR? I mean, what are the rules? Who would he go to for guidance and directions and look at these rules and say, okay, what needs to be changed? How do we change it? And then go and change it.
Let me answer that so you understand. Let me answer that, okay? That's
Sure.
Understand that we go by the DOR, and every now and then, we set up a committee to look at the DOR and see if there's any changes that should be made. We have a committee like that established right now. Louise is on the chairman, or is on the committee. That's why I said, get ready, Louise. And she is on that committee that is now reviewing the DOR. However, just because they suggest something needs to be changed, doesn't mean it's going to be changed. Their recommendations would come back to the Board of Trustees. If the Board of Trustees approve their recommendations, it would then go out to a vote of all the homeowners. And the last time we did this, there were probably 20 or 25 recommended changes, and they sure didn't all pass. People said, no, we don't want to change that. So it's a vote of the people in the end that determines if the DOR is changed.
Every vote passed on the last voting thing.
I'm just explaining to you how it works, just so you understand.
Hopefully I can help. I don't know the answer. And I can't tell you that I'll know it by Thursday. But I can tell you that I will check with the legal authorities to find out if there is any reason that they can or cannot do this. And that's where we're all hoping, is that there's something legal that prevents this. Right now, I don't think any of us has that answer, but I tell you, I will find out. I will also tell you that it is not on schedule. If you read your peek at the week, we aren't talking about housing yet. You want to look and see what we are discussing on Thursday morning. If you want to come and do your input, you're welcome to do that. We are working through the deed of restrictions in a logical and orderly fashion, but we certainly can take comments. I can't fix it for you right now because I don't know if there's a legal way for us to fix that.
I think the issue became apparent when, basically like a phone tree, one person calls another to another to another. I just found out about this
So now
last
there's
night.
30 people doing
Yeah.
this instead
So
of one.
all of a sudden, you know, it became an issue. And the people, some here didn't know about it, some did. Now everybody here knows about
I
it.
just found out about it right now.
Okay, so now you look at what's going on, you say, holy mackerel, we need to do something about this yesterday.
And I'm telling you
That's what,
what,
I guess that's all we're asking you to do is.
Folks, we're gonna have to get back to what we're supposed to be here for, and again, we did get a semi-quasi legal opinion, and right now, the opinion is we have no authority, but again, we haven't asked for a full-blown legal opinion, but we've had it reviewed, and just so you know that. Louise is right, though, you know, we'll look at it. Can we get back, we only have a couple minutes left here, and the board has to do some decision-making. We have someone, I can't see with Matt in the way, so is there someone back there too?
Yeah, I just have one question. My name is Cindy Rayno. I live on Gardenia, directing it to the people from the DOR. You're going through all the regulations. I understand that. I think we all do. But in this particular case, can this take precedent? Can this be moved to the top of the line and legally? Can we address it through our charter without going through all the other, why is that?
A deed of restriction is accepted by the homeowners
I
of
understand.
the community.
I understand.
We're not talking about changing the charter. We're not talking about changing the charter. It's the
Okay.
DOR, the deed of restrictions.
Okay, the deed of restrictions, can this be put on the agenda at the top of the list? A one item, just one item
It wouldn't,
to be addressed?
I understand your question, and I'd love to have an answer for you by the end of January. But it wouldn't make any difference if we discussed it in January. It still has to go out to a vote and be approved by the residents before it can come through. It won't, and January or February won't make any difference in when the entire
them to approve and to go on to ballot. So moving it up a week or two won't change the importance, true. It still has to go for vote.
So the way it's I mean, you know, the Congress meets, and during recess, and we would make
Folks, I hate to interrupt you, I really do. I know this is important to you, and I understand it. And we try to explain what our position is and what we can and can't do. Again, as Louise said, this isn't something that they would just put one issue and come back to us, because then we'd have to go back out to the homeowners and do a special election and do all those things. They're going to come back with a report, with the suggested recommendations to the Board of Trustees at some point, and then the Board of Trustees will decide which one they agree with and which one they would put out to the homeowners for a vote. It would then have to go to the homeowners for a vote, and they decide whether the DOR, not the charter, is changed. We're looking at charter changes, we're talking about legislature and everything else. So we're talking about DOR, just so you understand, okay?
The houses are gonna be on these lots like that time.
So we have to wrap this up because we have only a couple of minutes to talk about budget. Any final comment about the budget, because we have to do some things? Hearing none, let's close this part of the town hall. Mr. Coffey, please.
If the board could provide some consensus direction.
Folks, could we hold just so we can get something done here? Please hold up, thank you.
If the primary direction staff needs at this point is, should we use the 4.698% CIP number for the assessment in the budget we're going to be providing you in about 6 weeks?
Board of Trustees, so we have a recommendation that we should go with the, what is it, 4.698. And you saw on your paper what Mr. Coffey said, it would increase the revenue, how much a month. We have a recommendation to accept that, or a motion to accept that recommendation.
No, that only increases, what, by $3.23?
Correct.
Make that motion. I would make that second.
Mr. Morrissey made the motion. Is there a second? Mr. Nugent seconded. So let's have comments, questions on this motion. So the motion is that we increase the assessment by the CPI, which is 4.698. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Anything else on this right now, Joe? Nothing. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting, the town hall meeting? Motion, Mr. Nugent, seconded by Mr. Amos. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.